Hello everyone, thanks for joining in and thank you so much for watching our previous video on GNFC from idea execution to analysis. We received good reviews as well as some suggestions. We have tried to incorporate the same in this video. So today what we are learning is I have tried to quickly note down what we are trying to explain in this particular video. The key takeaways from today's video will be segment information, what is segment reporting, and how to talk to the management, the few ways as to how you can get your query resolved. Also from the next video, which will be before this weekend, will be on the cash flow statement. So we are starting individual topics from this video, from this weekend, and we'll be starting from the financial statement first, cash flow, then PL, and then balance sheet, and so on. So I hope it will be a good learning journey for you. And then we'll be doing the company analysis better, and then the annual reports you'll be better be able to understand the annual reports. So let's start. But before we start, I wanted to share with you that the segment information and how to talk to the management, it's not related, that we have covered in the same video. But however, this is a continuation of the previous video on GNFC as well. There is a very important aspect that I did not receive any queries on, which I think I should have been, because the video has more than 1,000 views now, and I wished someone would have asked that particular query as to what I'm trying to share with you, because I did ask, and I got that was a very important observation as well. So let's start. Let's quickly minimize this. So as you remember, we had excuse me, this press release that I shared with you last time, the quick turnaround story of GNFC. I like to point out the information that was given for the IT division. The IT division of the company has reported profits, turnover of 146 crores, contributing the profit of 37 crores. Now, this was an interesting factor that I told you before as well. So when I was looking at the result, so this is the result that I shared with you in the last file as well. This is the 2015-16 result. And what I was trying to see from the segment results is, we have fertilizer, we have chemical. Where is the IT division? This is a very important question. I'll tell you why. We have three segments in the business. We have three business in this company. Why is the IT division not reported here? That is something. So that brings to a question first. What is segment reporting? Why these particular divisions have been included and IT divisions has not been included, and it is shown in the others column. So let's just see. In 2015-16 we had total revenue in others as 157 odd crores and a total profit of 88 crores. 26 odd crores in the others part, as you can see from here. So I'll try to see why IT division is not included, and to see that, so the segment reporting is covered by accounting standard 17. If you can Google, you can have this particular accounting standard. So it's a 35-page document. We will not be reading the entire document. It's an assignment to you as well to read this document and to come up with the queries. You can ask them in our group. You can share across your queries. I'll just quickly go share with you what exactly is needed for the video, and what exactly why this, where the segment reporting comes from. So let's just quickly see the objective of this particular accounting standard. So every financial statement is based on the accounting standards set by Icsi, and those are some accounting standards are mandated to follow. Some have the optional part as well. So let's see the objective of this particular standard. The objective standard is to establish principle for reporting financial information about different type of products and services an enterprise produces and the different geographical areas in which it operates. Such information helps user of financial statements. Definitely yes. So better understand the performance, assess the risk and returns, and make more informed judgments. That is a very important aspect of this particular objective. The scope. Let's see if what's the scope. The requirements of this standard are applicable in case of consolidated. So it's not that you have only standalone financials, Even for consolidated, this standard is mandatory. Then we have an enterprise should comply with the requirement of this standard fully and not selectively. So it's not optional, you have to comply with this standard. Then there's a quick definition of business segment. What are the business segment? You can read from this PDF that these are the types of nature of the production process, nature of the products and services. Then there is geographical segment. So we keep on seeing some of the companies mentioning about primary segment as geographical segment or primary segment as business segment. So these are the two segments information that is covered in this standard. Now the main part that I wanted to share with you was how segment is decided, that this is a segment in this company. There could be multiple businesses, but how do you decide why this IT division is not being a segment? So let's just quickly go to this particular part, paragraph 27, wherein we share about reportable segments. So a business segment or a geographical segment should be identified as reportable segment if वो segment तब माना जाएगा, that will be a segment when first there are 3 points broadly in this, no more. Its revenue from sales to external customers and from transaction with other segment is 10% or more of the total revenue. In simple words, the total revenue of all the segments is 100 crores, and if any segment's revenue is more than 10%, so that is 10 crores, then it should be reportable segment. Then there is that the standard has mentioned that okay, if it's less than 10%, no problem. Let's see if the other conditions match. The other condition in segment results, whether profit and loss, it's not only about the profits, is 10% or more of the combined result of all segment and profit. So they are talking about okay, if the entire profits is 100 crores and if a segment profits is more than 10% or 10 crores, then you have to include in that segment information. You have to include that as a reportable segment. That is what this particular point is talking about. So we have first the sales part. If the sales is 10% or more of the total, then you have to include that as a reportable segment. Then if the sales is not more, the results are the segment results, the operating profit is more than 10%, then you have to include. Or C, the segment assets are 10% or more of the total assets. So if the assets are also more than 10%, even if the sales or profits are not more than 10%, then also it is mandatory to cover them. So let's just quickly see whether or not any of the condition matched for the IT division to be as a reportable segment. I will share the importance of this factor just after this particular analysis as to why we are doing it. So I'll quickly plot down the numbers, nothing too much, the same numbers that I have shared with you before about the revenue, about the profits. We don't have the segment assets in place. I could not find from the annual report. So I'm just quickly trying to see whether on the basis of revenue or profits, this segment could have been a reportable segment or not. So in 2012, the revenue was 1.9% of the total revenue. So less profits. I don't have the figure for 2014, and the revenue was also less than 10%. So fair enough. In 2015, the revenue, if we can see, was 3%, 2.8% of the total. So that condition doesn't match. But the profits were 14.8% of the entire total. In 2015, the results was negative. One second, I'll just quickly go to the segment results. So as you can see that in this particular segment 2014-15 year ended, we had losses from the chemical segments and the losses from fertilizer segments. The total segment losses were close to, including the others part, the total losses were, as I've shared, 196 odd crores. And the segment profit for that particular year in the IT division was more than was 29 odd crores. So it does increase. It does have a relevance above 10%. So this condition matches, and still company did not report it in the segment information. Now, this is something important, as we have the auditor of this company is Deloitte. It's not a small CA firm. We have Deloitte as an auditor, and you don't expect them to commit to mistakes as to such important factor. So what I've tried to do is, after I thought maybe it's a mistake, or it's not matching up. Even in other segment, you have 26 odd crores of profit, as you can see from this particular information in the others part as well. 1 second. Here we have in the others part 20 crores of profit for this particular year, while the press release mentions that you have 37 crores of profit just from the IT division, and others you have 20 crores of profit, which means that there were some losses which were merged with the IT division profits, and as a net result, the profits were going down, the profits were showing less. The question was, why this type of reporting anyway? Why once, if the accounting standard mandates that you have to report it as a separate segment, why did the company did not report it? And I had this question. So I called up the company, and I asked them. It's a government company, so you don't expect too much of response, but I called them up still anyway, and I tried to have a talk as to why this kind of reporting has been done by the management. So they said that in the earlier years, it was a small division, so it did not focus on too much. This particular year, because of losses, this particular segment looks big in terms of reporting. So definitely, they will look into it more. So I could not recall who I talked to, but in the company itself, or maybe the company secretary or someone, I got the response of. And then I requested some information on the press release as to what exactly happened with the turnaround point. So broadly, my questions and the replies were generally what was already mentioned in the press release, but coming from the management, it gave me some comfort as to the information that was already in the press release. Now, the point of the entire last 5 minutes that I have told you about the segment information and the segment reporting and all the accounting standard is, the first is, you need to know accounting to be able to see the financial results. That is something that you cannot skip. And over the course of the videos that I will be sharing, I will be sharing more about the accounting part as well, so that your understanding of the financial statements do have a base as well. So you can talk to, or you can read to the financial statement a far better way than you have without the knowledge of accounting. Plus, the second part is, when you are talking with the management and you have something quite concrete, you have something, a good point that I have shared with you. This was a good point. Uh, the management also responds. It doesn't matter to them if you're calling them or not, but if you're calling them with a concrete query, then it is very highly likely that you will get a response, and then you can ask subsequent questions. The management also respects that you have done your homework, so they also respect that particular part. That was a little bit connection. I have seen in my previous interaction with management that once I come up with a query that is good enough, from maybe there's some mistake in the annual report, or maybe some some error, or the figures aren't matching. So all these things, it's an easy entry for you to get to the management. So that is the part where I wanted to share that if you have some decent query, you'll be able to come to the management, and then you can ask obviously other queries as well. You can. Now next, let's come to the second part which I wanted to share was how to talk to the management. A few ways as to how you can get your queries resolved. So the first way that I shared with you is, you can go to the company website, uh, and then you have the contact section. Let's just say this is a company called Vardhaman Steel. So you can go to the website, see the contact section. How exactly is the structure? Do they have companies? Um, so in the contact us page, generally they have the company secretaries, phone numbers, office address, warehouses, branch offices. So you have, let's say, investor service. So either you can have the contact us page, or you have the investor service. Generally, it's better to have to see all these information on investor service page. Okay, so we don't have too much. We don't have the contact us information on this, but we have the investor presentation. So if you click on the investor presentation, the 39 2018 part, if this company has prepared this investor relation by themselves, so you have this contact number here that you can see. We have the email ID for secretarial.lud@vardhaman.com. You can send your queries on these IDs, and you can call them up to have interaction with the company secretary. Now, if you can see, this is the presentation that the company has made. You can have a broad outlook about the company. But what if you had queries? So at the end of the investor relation, at the end of this presentation, if the company has made this presentation by themselves, they'll only write this particular part. But if there is an investor relation advisor, then you have the details for the investor relation firm. Now, having worked at an IR firm, investor relation firm, I can tell you firsthand that we are there for you only. If you call us with respect to any query that you have, any part where you're having problem, you can drop us a mail. You can drop the IR companies a mail with respect to your queries, and generally you do get reply because they are doing this for the investors. So this is one of the best ways to actually get your query resolved, because then you skip the part wherein you call the management, have a follow up, and all those things. And slowly and gradually, this trend is also getting quite good traction in India, where majority of the companies do have investor relation advisory. Now, another thing is how to know whether this company has an investor relation department or not. There are two ways broadly to see whether this company has or not. So one is, if you go onto the uh, Research Bytes website, you can see of this company. Let's just say I have opened up Vardhaman Textile Limited, and I have tried to see. So here you have quite good information about whether this company holds any analyst calls or meets, or management interviews, or investor presentation. So you can click onto the any of the investor presentations, and you can have it downloaded. And then if you can see whether at the end of the report they have a IR department or not. Another way is that you can there are some investor relation firm. If you just quickly Google investor relation firms in India, then you have multiple companies, Stellar, SGA. What you should do and what you can do is uh, just drop them a mail, and to include your email ID in the mailing list. So what I have done is I have Bridge IR. Just I have showed you in the video itself, the investor presentation, that this Bridge IR, the Bridge is an investor relation firm. So I have included my mail ID. I have requested them to include my mail ID in their updates. So what they have done is they have included my email ID, and they keep on sending me update as to due to earnings conference call transcript, high tech pipes, Shiva Texian. So you keep getting the investor updates, analyst, and if you have any queries, you can contact them. You can share your queries. Another way, if you are really looking forward to having your query resolved, what you can do is, if you are not able to find the company secretary number, then there is one way I try to do is, there is a company secretary database. So ICSI members directory. Generally, you should not use this, misuse this actually. But this is also one of the ways I try to, if I am not able to find the company's contact details, or I'm not able to connect to the company secretary, then I try to use this particular members directory. I'll show you quickly as to how exactly this works. Just loading up. Yeah, here's the company's secretary's database. It's loading up. So all you can do is you can search for first name, last name, membership number, or XYZ. So let's just say about the company secretary of Vardhaman, or in simple words, if I want to have the company secretary for GNFC. I'll just quickly see the name of the company secretary. I'll search for company secretary. Yeah, Sri R.B. Panchal. R.B. Panchal. So let's see if we can find the details to contact Sir R.B. Panchal. R.B. Panchal. Membership type. See if we can. I hope he's a FCS. So total number of visitors 0. ACS. Let's see. Try for ACS. No records to display. So there could be the RB Panchal is a short name. I'm not sure the full name would be. Yeah, Mr. PA Mr. Panchal Alpesh Kumar Jayantilal. So we don't have RB Panchal, but we have another guy. So anyway, this is one of the way that you can search for a company name. So just say there is another ma'am that there's another company called Punjab Alkalis. I use this secretary database for getting the information because that is another government-owned company. Punjab Alkali will be covering it another video, and it is virtually impossible to contact with the management because the numbers are not right. No one picks up the call. But I tried to see whether I can connect to the management by searching the name. So Sugandha Kukreja, Miss Sugandha Kukreja, that was the Punjab Alkalis and Chemicals. I'll not show the numbers, but you can see for any person that you want to connect with. And if you are unable to reach them via official numbers, you can try this way out as well, and you can just drop a message with respected sir, we are not able to reach out, so I am sending a mail of this. Please, I request you to guide us how to reach out to the management. That is another way. You should not misuse this. It's just a database that is open to public, but at the same time, you try to see these are some of the ways to actually connect to the management. Then you have conference calls. So if you just for sake of example, we have this Arman Financial conference call. If you include your email IDs in the database, you keep getting such updates on the conference calls, and the dial-in details is also available here, and you can see the investor update, the auditor financial years, and all these things. So this is a short video as to how exactly you can connect to the management. You have several ways to connect. You can go to AGMs, you can go to investor meetups, you can contact the IR, which I personally believe is one of the best ways. Then you can actually go to the con call, dial in numbers that I have showed with you. You can dial in, you can ask the queries, and then be at comfort. The best thing you should do is have your queries in hand when you're dialing in to the con call. That's it, friend. This is a short video as to I've tried to share why segment reporting is important, how the reportable segments gets decided, and this company it should have been there, and that's how the query I got, and I reached out to the management. I got better comfort after listening to the reply, but still I believe they should have given out the numbers as well. So, and then we saw how we are able to contact the management. Either we can call them, we can drop a mail. But it's better to always be as polite and as respectful in the mail. Try to share the queries. Don't management has a lot of work to do. Sometimes the delay happens, but it's important to follow up and try to see how we can better have a word with the management. So that's it, friend. Thank you so much for joining. This is a small video of these thought process that I had. The next video by the end of this week will be on the cash flow statements. We'll be learning a lot, and we'll be using a lot of financial statement analysis, a lot of cash flow companies, and then we'll be having some examples as to how you can see the management decisions from the cash flow statement. how you can see what is the intention of the management, how they are doing with what they are doing with the cash flows, and we'll try to find out whether it is good or bad, and we'll see the different statements as well. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this was value adding, and we'll continue next time. Thank you.